Today, in the series of experimenting with yoga, Baba is talking about experimenting on ourselves first. So, Baba says that this is like a very good direction and exercise that Baba gives us. And Baba says that take 15 days or a month and take any virtue or power and just experiment with it on yourself. What does that mean? So you take a virtue, take a power, and of course, the method is being in Baba's remembrance, because only when we are in Baba's remembrance that our virtues and powers are in an emerged state. Because although, the soul is also virtuous and powerful, but right now the soul's virtues and powers are merged. They are not active. And when I am in remembrance of Baba, then the latent virtues and powers in me are emerged because of Baba's company or with the power of Baba's remembrance. Just like, you have the power to, so the body has the capacity to produce many things, but then only in the right environment, those things can be produced by the body. So Baba says similarly, the soul also has these capacities for virtues and powers. But in Sangam Yuga, when we are in Baba's remembrance, then those capacities get activated. And Baba says that when, just like, you heard that when seeds, maybe that's chana or moong or, those seeds, they are soaked in water, then all the nutrients inside the seed, they get activated. So it's, they say that if you're eating almonds, then, okay, you can have them dry, but, when you don't, when you soak them in water, then the nutrients will be activated. Or, for pulses also it is said like that. So basically it means that, when the soul is in Baba's remembrance, then the latent powers and virtues are activated. And Baba says that you experiment with some particular virtue or power. And let me take sweetness, for example. So let me just take one virtue, and Baba has specified 15 days or 1 month. So take one virtue, maybe sweetness, and for 15 days experiment with it. What does experiment with it mean? It means that you experiment that this is my virtue, and despite any situation, any circumstance, I am able to seat myself in that virtue or stabilize myself in that virtue whenever I am in Baba's remembrance. So you are experimenting with this truth that you don't need anything else to uphold that virtue. All you need is Baba's remembrance. You don't need the support of any environment, any person, any vibration. You just need to remember Baba, and you can be an embodiment of that virtue or that power. And when you experiment with this, then what do you get? You get an experience. And that experience tells you that virtues and powers are gifts of Baba. And they are not dependent on any situation, any behavior, anything. So when you experiment with these virtues and powers, so Baba also gives a cautionary note. And the cautionary note is, when you come into connections and relations and interactions, then your this experiment will be tested, because maybe you are in silence and you are just remembering Baba, and you are able to uphold the virtue of sweetness. But when you're coming into relations and connections, at that time when other people are not nice to you or sweet to you, then that experiment will be tested. And then you have to again remember that my virtue is a gift from my Baba, and if I'm in remembrance of Baba, then I can stay sweet with the most unsweet of people or situations. And when you realize that this virtue, this power is your quality, it is gift from Baba, then you are in a position to experiment this on others. And how do you experiment this with others? You become the donor of that virtue or that power. So, you are, for example, let's say purity. So, when you experiment with the virtue of purity, and you realize that I can stay in the purity of thought, word, and act in any circumstance, and I just need to be in Baba's remembrance, and I can be in the purity of thought, word, and act. And then what you get is the power of purity. And then, you can give it to someone else. So just like, you have Buddhi Yoga with Baba, so Baba nourishes you to be pure. Baba sustains or nourishes that seed of purity that is latent in you. But you have to have Buddhi Yoga with Baba. Similarly, when people around us, they don't know Baba, they are not able to have Buddhi Yoga with Baba, but they are all physical humans, and they have Buddhi Yoga with you because you are in a human body. And when you uphold this power of purity and send thoughts and vibrations of purity to anybody around you or to the whole world, then that entity or the world or nature will be nourished by that power of purity. But you will have that zeal and enthusiasm to experiment with this on others and on nature and on the souls of the world, or you will have the zeal and enthusiasm to serve everybody with the power of your mind if you first experiment it on yourself. Yes, because if you don't experiment it on yourself, then you don't have enough power of purity. And when you don't have enough, then you will not feel that, you will not even have the thought that, okay, that person is not having purity of thought, let me support them, let me cooperate with them. You will not have that thought. If you are not full, you will be a beggar. You will always have this thought, why does that person not give me support? But when you are full, you have experimented with that virtue or power, then you don't mind lending it to everybody. You don't mind supporting everybody with that virtue and power. And when you experiment, you experience that you can shift sanskars, behaviors, vibrations, atmospheres through your virtue and power. So even if you see, we always hear that there is this law that if something doesn't affect you, then you will affect it. Yes, if you are uninfluenced, you will influence it. But then what is the deciding factor about which one will influence the other? Whether you will be influenced or you will influence. What decides that? So the decision about who will influence and who will be influenced is made by who is in a higher stage, because energy flows from high to low. So if my purity, my power of purity is higher than the power of their impurity, then energy will flow from here to there. So first I have to experiment with myself, and experiment with myself involves taking a virtue and power and taking a good time period. Any experiment, you see, it takes time. Yes, and do you know that sometimes so when there are scientific experiments that are conducted, so let's say I want to experiment the effect of a seed on a certain land, then I would sow the seeds, but then I would try to sow it in different seasons to see whether that effect is consistent or that produce is consistent. So it's not just that one time that experiment is done, but in different situations, different circumstances, when you are coming in contact with different people or having different challenges, at that time you experiment with your own power. And then when you realize that this is my own power, this is my own virtue, and whenever I am in Baba's remembrance, my virtue and power is working. So then you have the zeal and enthusiasm to experiment it on others. You have this intention that, okay, even if they are not peaceful and joyful or cooperative or tolerant, it's okay. Let me lend that power or that virtue to that person. And you know that if you're very constant with it, they will be affected. And I remember, there was this one Mata, and she told me that when she heard knowledge, so we hear a lot of knowledge on different social media platforms also these days, and even Baba's knowledge, there are reels and this and that cut out of it. So she heard in one of the reels, so she had never been to a center or not done any course even online, but she had just seen a reel where she heard that when you give good thoughts to your children, for example, they are disciplined, or they are, they have a good timetable, or they are tolerant, or they are, what do you say, hardworking. So if you just give these thoughts to them, then it will work. So then she said, I did that, but it didn't work. So I said, that's because, you don't, so you are trying to experiment this on the basis of, what result it is giving. So first you're thinking that let me experiment, let me give 5 minutes of good thoughts, and then you are looking at the result and checking whether it's working or not. But it doesn't work like that. You have to, you have to have enough capacity to be very constant and consistent. And how can you be constantly giving, consistently giving, when you have experimented on yourself and you've filled yourself with the virtues and powers that Baba is giving? So when you are experienced, so when you experiment with virtues and powers, you become an embodiment of them. And in order to give somebody good wishes, you need to be an embodiment of good wishes. So, and that happens when you are in a full state. So this is what Baba is telling today. So do that, and before experimenting on anybody, you have to experiment on yourself. So this is one thing. And then today Baba talks about something very interesting. Baba says that you are the ones who make poor ones wealthy. Yes, and it is interesting, the choice of words is very interesting, because everybody wants to meet somebody who can change the poor one into wealthy. So, if you just put a board outside saying, if you are poor, come and we will turn you into wealthy, then, people will just flock to the centers. And Baba gives us this very interesting title today, that you are the ones who can change poor ones into wealthy. And how do we do that? So, Baba says, so have you heard in the Murli, Baba always says that knowledge is the source of wealth. So, Baba says yoga is the source of health, and knowledge is the source of wealth. So, I find that very interesting always, and there are many ways in which you can interpret this, but I will talk about whatever I understand. So, when Baba says knowledge is the source of wealth, so first thing, I'll tell you one experience. There was this one brother, and he came and he said, please bless me, Didi, and I want to build a house. I want to have a house. So I said, okay. So he had come for the first time, so he didn't know what we preach or practice. So he just told me, I need blessings and I want to have a house of my own. So I said, okay. So then I asked him, how big should be your house? So what blessing do you want? So he said, I want a 4-bedroom apartment. So I said, oh, but Baba was going to give you a 10-bedroom bungalow, but okay, if you want a 4-bedroom apartment, that's okay. So then he said, no, but so then he got very confused. So I told him, you see, maybe you are destined to get a 10-bedroom bungalow, but then according to the consciousness you are in right now, you can only think of a 4 BHK, and that to an apartment. You are not even thinking about a bungalow. So maybe because you're thinking like that, you're only getting that much. So one thing, that knowledge tells you is what kind of wealth you had in Satyug. Yes, and I think, when we come to Baba, then you understand that we are actually very poor right now. So, people, even the wealthiest of people in this Kali Yuga, what are they? They are very poor compared to who we were or what kind of wealth we had in Satyug. And just think about the kind of intoxication of wealth we have. So, these days people show off their glass doors and glass windows and, steel cupboards. And so people are very proud of their steel and glass furniture. Whereas, in the golden age, everything is made of gold. And just think about if you are so intoxicated by this poverty today, you think that, we are very rich, then how do you grow richer? Because your whole visualization is confined to that. It is limited by your idea of what is wealthy, what is poor. And when we come to Baba, we realize that this is Kali Yuga and we are in our depleted state and we are basically very poor right now. And we were very wealthy. And then you start, first thought that comes to you is, I am entitled to a lot more wealth than this. And I am actually the master of health, wealth, happiness in Satyug. And that kind of opens your doors of visualization. And according to the law of attraction also, only then can you become wealthy, when you think about it, because whatever you think is happening. So there is a limitation to your thought. That's why there's a limitation to your reality. And we in Brahma Kumaris, we are very well aware of this law of Sankalp se Srishti. Thoughts become things, or thoughts create the world. Now, when our thoughts are so limited, when our thoughts are Kalyugi, then how can we attract Satyugi wealth? How can we create that world where, everything is available? So Baba says that I make you very wealthy by telling you that you deserve all the wealth in the world. And I remember, so if you look at the society today, if you want somebody to stay poor, to not progress, to stay dependent, or to stay, to have a very ordinary or a very lowly life, if you want that person to be like that, you just have to do one thing. You have to program him to believe that that is what they deserve. Just look at the caste system. How has the caste system worked all these years? So, right from childbirth, you keep telling a person that you are not entitled to any dignity, any wealth, any prosperity, any education, and then that person buys it, and then they never try for more. And then when the social reformers came and they instilled that confidence that you are entitled to more, you deserve more, you deserve better, then the doors of consciousness opened, and then they started working for their prosperity, or their dignity, and then that dignity and prosperity came back. So if you look at even in terrorist affected areas, what happens is you just cripple the mind with this thought that you are not entitled to education, you are not entitled to a good life, you have to live in this horror and terror all your life, and then people never try. So even Kali Yuga, Baba says we are all in the chains of Ravan. And what does Ravan do? Ravan just shackles your imagination, your visualization. It puts a limit on your thought. It puts a limit on, what you think you deserve, or what you think, who you think you are. Ravan limits you like that. And then Baba comes and Baba just opens all those doors and windows and says, no, look out, the world is yours. You were in Satyug and you had everything. And this nature, these 5 elements, they used to serve you. And you are not subservient to anybody. You are the master. You are the master of your body, mind, senses. You are the master of the 5 elements of nature. You are the master of everybody's heart. Everybody will cooperate with you if you just know who you are. And that is how you change from poor to wealthy. This is one thing. Second thing is, anything, health, wealth, happiness, prosperity, they all come from good karma. And only Baba teaches us good karma. Because karma is a product of consciousness and intention. And Baba teaches us how to do everything in soul consciousness and God consciousness in remembrance of Baba. And Baba teaches us how to have the intention of seva in every act you do. So when we start doing every karma with the intention of seva, and in soul consciousness and in Baba's remembrance, then that is good karma. And that good karma attracts health, wealth, happiness, everything. So, this is why Baba says that I give you the knowledge, and knowledge of the soul, knowledge of how you should do karma, or with what awareness you should do karma, or the knowledge of the karma yogi state, or understanding what is really karma yoga. These are the things that Baba gives us, and this is why knowledge is wealth. And Baba says you have the power to make every poor one wealthy. And if you just taught them how to remember Baba and do everything in Baba's remembrance and sit in the realization of who they are and what they deserve. I remember, I'll tell you one very interesting thing, that if you don't believe you deserve respect and you keep begging for it, so, if you're begging for respect, if you are always telling people, don't talk to me like that, or you are getting offended, that means you're begging for respect. And if you're begging for respect, that means that you don't believe you deserve respect. Although it may sound very paradoxical. So you think that because you believe you deserve respect, that's why you are fighting for it. But when you believe you deserve something, you don't fight for it. When you believe you deserve something, you just try to tune yourself to a place where you attract it. When you're fighting with somebody, you are begging for it. You don't believe you deserve it. And if you believe that you deserve respect, then you conduct yourself respectfully, come what may. Whether somebody treats you well, treats you not well, you always know that you are somebody who is respectable, and you treat yourself with respect. You take your thoughts, words, and actions and check them in the light of whether this thought, word, and act is that of a worthy soul. And then, if you come to that place, then slowly, gradually, everybody starts respecting you. So, Baba is the one who makes us understand the law, the law of wealth, the law of joy, the law of happiness, the law of peace. The law of peace is just know you are a peaceful soul and stabilize yourself in peace. The law of happiness is do good karma. The law of wealth is, know that you deserve all the wealth in the world. And when you do the right thing, when you do Baba's seva, then Prakriti, this 5 elements of nature, will just fill, your aprons with everything that you deserve. So Baba says that I tell you all these laws, and I am the one who is. So Baba also gives the title that he is the boatman, and he's a boatman. Baba says it sounds very ordinary, but Baba is the boatman who takes you across. And he takes you across from Kalyug to Satyug. And Baba says you are also the master boatman. You also know how to tell somebody the path to go across. So of course you cannot take somebody across, but you can tell somebody the path to go across because you know the path now. Baba says if you be yogi, you be pure, then you can go across. So this is also something very interesting in the Murli today. And then Baba today talks about the swings. Baba says that this Brahmin life is the most valuable, and Baba says that it is the praise of Brahmin life, that in Brahmin life nothing is unattained. And you see, In Satyug, we have everything physically, but the foundation of that physical world of health, wealth, and happiness is the spiritual attainments that we have right now. So Baba is giving us knowledge, peace, love, power. Baba is giving us his lap, and Baba is giving us all attainments right now. And Baba says, you are the ones who are entitled to swing on different swings all day. And just think about, if you have a swing at home. I remember there was this one sister, and I had once visited her place, and she had a very beautiful garden, terrace garden. And then, she was going through depression. And I told her, why don't you come and spend some time in the garden every day? You have such a beautiful garden. It can, it is, and nature also, when you are not in a state to take power from Baba, then, even nature heals you, because the soul is very less powerful. So even nature is up above. So I told her, just begin by sitting in the garden for some time. And then she said, yes, I have this garden, but I never sit here. So I said, no, but you have to sit if you have a garden. How can the garden heal you if you don't sit on it? And I was just thinking about it, that Baba gives us so many swings. Baba says, I give you the swing of super sensuous joy. Just sit in this awareness of who you belong to, and it fills you with so much super sensuous joy. Sit in this awareness of who you're going to become or who you were, and it fills you with super sensuous joy. Baba gives you the swing of peace. When you sit in Baba's remembrance, it is like swinging on the swing of peace or happiness. And then Baba says, I give you my lap. So, you can come and become a small child and sit in my lap. And in that lap, all your experience of sorrow and suffering just vanishes. And Baba says, I give you so many attainments. Why don't you just use it? And Baba says, and what do you need to use these attainments? You just need to remember that you have all of this. Because when you forget, then you have nothing. And when you remember that this is the only time in the whole cycle when I have knowledge, peace, love, in fact, the ocean of knowledge, ocean of peace, ocean of love, ocean of power at, serving me and constantly sustaining me with his love, power, purity, with his healing energy. And if you just remembered it and used it, then your life would be really praiseworthy. And the praise is, the Brahmin life is full of all attainments. Okay, Om Shanti. Anybody wants to share anything, please do.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Today Baba says, always be in the company of truth and in intense remembrance. And this is the stage where we are very elevated. All our virtues and powers works there.
Correct.
And I have really experimented all this, Didi.
Anji.
Every day I experiment.
Yes. Yes.
And on self also, and family members also.
Yes.
And even when sometimes I go to market also, there also all my work are done like makhanais.
Yes. Yes.
I don't have to wait anywhere.
Yes.
And too good.
Yes.
Too good experience. Really. And today Baba also says that he reminds about the Vada temple today again.
Yes.
And he says, Baba wins everyone's heart and grants salvation to everyone.
Correct.
He even brings benefit to elements, etc. So we also have to play this role of master purifier with Baba.
Yes, yes. Very
And
nice.
more remembrance, more efforts to claim that high status in Satyam.
Correct. Okay.
Thank you, Didi. Om Shanti.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Good morning.
Good morning,
Om
bhai.
Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Today I learned from you was embodiment of good wishes, making a poor man into a wealthy person.
Yes.
Thank you, Shilpa Didi.
Thank
Om
you.
Shanti.
Om Shanti. Anybody else? Nobody else? हाँ जी. हाँ जी.
Om Shanti.
Om
Didi.
Shanti. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. Didi.
Om Shanti.
Today Baba says that we have to experiment on ourselves first, and then we can experiment on others also. And when we are in the higher state, then we can also influence others. And Baba also says that today that he is the boatman who takes us across, and we are also master boatmen like him, and we can also take people across by introducing them to the meditation course or introducing themselves to the knowledge of Baba.
Correct.
And first we have to experiment on ourselves. And also Baba talks about that I am the one who makes the poor ones wealthy. And also Baba has given us many swings in the Sangam Yug, and I have to remember them, the swings of love or the swings of peace. If I forget them, then it is a loss for me.
Yes.
So I have to constantly and consistently remember myself.
Okay.
Thank you, Vijay.
Thank you. Thank you. Om Shanti. Okay.